Hi, Caddy. Today I want to talk to you about a YA book that I've loved for a while now. It's called To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and it's by Jenny Han. Here is the cover. It's really pretty. Film adaptation of To All the Boys I've Loved Before has been picked up for distribution by Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix this summer, so yeah, check it out. But before you do that, I wanted to kind of introduce you to Laura Jean and her world and to the trilogy of her life. The first one is To All the Boys I've Loved Before. The second one is P.S. I Still Love You. And the third one is Always and Forever Laura Jean, which came out last May, so pretty recently. And I have read all three of them, so it is safe to say that I enjoy these books very much. I'm going to be honest. The real reason I think I read the book the first time is because the premise uses my favorite trope of all time. If you're someone who loves reading romance or watching romance films, rom-coms, etc., there's certain tropes that you sort of gravitate towards. For me, my favorite trope of all freaking time is fake dating. If you have a fake dating story, I am so there. Every fandom that I've been a part of, I have to read at least one fake dating. Otherwise, what's the point? To All the Boys I've Loved Before has a huge part of the plot is the fake dating trope. The protagonist of the book is Laura Jean Covey, I think that's her last name. And I think she's 16 in the first book. Let's go with that. She's a 16-year-old sweet introvert, goody two-shoes. And whenever Laura Jean is getting over a crush of a boy that she's liked, or I guess referring to the title, she's loved, she writes them a letter where she kind of puts it all out there of this is how I felt about you, blah, 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 just confessional, put it all out there, and then that's it, book closed, Laura Jean is done with her crush. Obviously, she never actually talks to the boys about these, and she has no intention for them to ever find out. So Laura Jean Covey is one of three sisters. She's the middle sister. She has an older sister named Margot, who's about to go to college in Scotland, actually, and a younger sister named Kitty. Now, Laura Jean used to have a crush on her next-door neighbor, or kind of still have a crush on her next-door neighbor, Josh. Problem is, Josh is dating Margot, the older sister. Someone mails the letters that Laura Jean wrote to all her crushes, including to Josh. She doesn't know who it is. That's part of a little bit of the mystery of the first book, although it's not really about the mystery. Josh then basically comes up to her and is like, what is this letter about? And she's like, she panics. And this is how I remember it. She panics and she basically says, oh, I'm dating someone else. And then he's like, who? And my recollection of events is she basically looks around the room, finds this guy named Peter, who she also wrote a letter to, and then kind of jumps on Peter and is like, Peter! And Peter, who has recently broken up with his girlfriend, is like, yeah, sure, I don't know what's going on, but I'll roll with this. And then eventually, Laura Jean explains to Peter the whole situation, and they decide to fake date. I think you know where this is going. The reason that I love these books so much is because they're kind of like comfort food to me. They're very sweet. They're very charming. It's like that same fix that I get when I go watch a rom-com where I read these types of romance YA books, which is you know how it's going to end, but that doesn't make the journey any less enjoyable. In my Goodreads reviews, I wrote a little blurb about the last book, and I just said, when I think about this book series, the word lovely just comes to mind because I just have a lovely time reading them. It's just joyful and just a pure fun experience for me. Now, the other reason that this book sort of came to mind as something that I wanted to talk to you about is because I know how important representation in media is for us, for you and me, and how we try to seek out different voices and maybe underrepresented voices. In this case, I don't know if you could tell from the title from the book's author, Jenny Han, but she is Asian, and so is Laura Jean. Laura Jean is half Korean, on her mom's side, and then her dad is Caucasian. He's white. And even though her mom has passed away, her dad is very aware of the Korean side of the family, and it's something that throughout he's always trying to make sure that his daughters have a connection to that side of the family. Now, as I kind of hinted at the beginning, there is a movie about To All the Boys I've Loved Before. It was actually filmed, I think, last summer. When I found out about the casting, I was happy that they actually cast all Asian actors for all three sisters. So Laura Jean, our protagonist, is going to be played by Lana Condor, who is Jubilee in the new X-Men movies. I think she was only in Apocalypse, which was a shame, and she has a very small role. But she seems like she's going to be great. Janelle Parrish, our girl Mona from Pretty Little Liars, is going to play Margot. It also has a female screenwriter and a female director, Susan Jensen, who I just found out was actually a AFI alum. So the main appeal of the series is obviously Laura Jean and Peter, but to me, I really love Laura Jean. She is a very shy introvert who just loves her family. Like, her idea of a perfect day is just hanging out with her dad and her little sister, and just like, as a person who, as you know, loves hanging out with her family, and it's not an obligation, it's something that I actually really enjoy. I like that about Laura Jean. I liked seeing that side of her. I liked that it wasn't a thing that was bad. It was one of the things that made her who she is, and there was nothing wrong with that. One of the criticisms that I've heard is that Laura Jean can be too naive and innocent. Now, as I've just said, I happen to love her, but I can understand that. Laura Jean has lived a pretty sheltered life. She is deeply marked by her mother's passing, but other than that, like, her life has been pretty uncomplicated, conflict-free, and she can come off as someone who's naive for a 16-year-old, and yet it doesn't bother me. Some older readers, so like people who are more on the adult side and less on the younger side, can find it off-putting and can find her annoying. I find it endearing, and it feels authentic because it reminds me a lot of, I don't know, it feels real to me. So yes, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, available wherever books are sold, and the movie version will be coming to Netflix this summer, and I don't know, I hope you do give it a chance, and that you enjoy Laura Jean's story. And yeah, Peter's pretty cool too. See you later, girl.